mutahhar ruh şeriflerine salavat-ı şerife getirenlerin ahir ve akıbetleri hayrola. Âli azvâc-ı tahirât-ı evlâd-ı Resul-i Ashab-ı Güzin Efendilerimizin, Sâir-i Enbiya Azam ve Resul-i Kiram Hazırat'ın ervah şeriflerine, Pirimiz Bilal-i Habeşi radıyallahu anh Efendimizin, Mihmandar-ı Resul-i Kibriya, Eyyub Sultan Halid bin Zeyd Eba Eyyub el-Ansari radıyallahu anh, Şah Murşidan, Şah Hacı Muhammed Bahattin Nakşibendi el-Bukhari, Mevlana Celal-Din Rumi, Mevlana Ziyaddin Hard el-Baghdadi, Sahibu'z-Zaman, Kibretül-İslam, Şeyh Mevlana Muhammed Nazım Adel el-Hakkani, SahibulSaif, Şeyh Abdulkerim Kibrisi Rabbani, Kaddesallahu esrarruhum hazıratın ervahı için, Hadimul Harimeyn-i Şerifen Yavuz Sultan Selim Han, Ebel Fatih vel Magazi Fatih Sultan Mehmet Han ve Serdar-ı Hakan Sultan Abdülhamid Han cennet mekan, Firdevs-i Aşiyana hazıratın ervahına ve avni inayetine, Alel husus bu caminin bayinesi ve bugüne kadar içerisinden gelmiş geçmiş İmam Muazzin Kayyim Cemaatin ve kafi ehli eman ervahı için, Allah rızası için El-Fatiha. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. İnna Allah ve melâiketuhu yusallûne alen nebi. Ya eyyühellezîne âmenû sallû aleyhi ve sellimû teslîmâ. Allahümme salli ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala ali seyyidina Muhammed. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Eşhedü en la ilahe illallah. Eşhedü en la ilahe illallah. Eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah. Eşhedü enne Muhammeden Resulullah. Hayya ale's-salah. Hayya ale's-salah. Hayya alel-felah. Hayya alel-felah. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. La ilahe illallah.
La ilahe illallah. Seyyidina Muhammed Resulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Elhamdülillah, elhamdülillah. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala Resulina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecmain. Nehmadullah Teala ve nastağfiru eşhedü en la ilahe illallah vahdehu la şerike lah. Eşhedü enne seyyidina Muhammeden abduhu ve habibuhu ve resuluhu sallallahu aleyhi ve ala alihi ve azvacihi ve sebet tabi hulafel raşidin mahadin min ba'di. وزراء المتي على التحقيق خصوصا منهم على الأميت خلفاء رسول على التحقيق أمر المؤمنين حضرات أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعلى بقية الصحابة التابعين رضوان الله عليهم أجمعين يا أيها المؤمنون الحاضرون اتقوا الله تعالى فإن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the universes. All praises are due to Allah, who gives support to His holy Prophet ﷺ in the Holy Quran, saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If the intention of the enemy is to deceive you, then Allah is enough for you. It is He who supports you with His help and with the believers. And as for the believers, He has put affection between their hearts. If you had spent all that is in the earth, you could not have brought their hearts together. But Allah brought them together. Truly, He is mighty, wise. O Prophet, Allah is enough for you and those who follow you from the believers. Sadaqallah al-Azim. May all peace and blessings be upon the pride of creation, Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi wasallam. Ya Allah, bless our Master Muhammad alayhi wasallam for eternity and seat him in the place of honor at your side and give him privilege and the favor of shafa'at and the highest station, and bestow on him the maqam al-mahmud that you have promised him, because you do not change what has been decreed. Ya Allah, I beg you, for you are my King, my Master, my Mawla, my confidence, and my hope. I beg you for the sake of the holy month of Muharram, and the holy city of Mecca, and the holy lands, and the holy turba of your Prophet ﷺ, that you bestow on me from the good that none knows but you, and that you protect me from the evil that none knows but you. Ameen. Ameen, inshallah. May peace and blessings be upon his noble family and upon his holy companions, especially upon the four Khulafa Rashidin, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar Farooq, Hazrat Osman al-Ghani, and Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, and all those who follow them until the last day. May peace and blessings be upon the Mashayikh of this noble way, the Shaykhs of Sohbat. May peace and blessings be upon the Ottoman Sultans, the pillars of truth and justice. May Allah love those who love them. May Allah curse those who hate them. O believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create man to be alone. Even in the paradises, our father Adam alayhi salam felt lonely, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our mother, Hawana, to be his companion. In this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create man to live by himself without others. It is the nature of man to organize himself with other people, whether it is a family, a town, a city, or a country. This is the nature of humans. What our Holy Prophet ﷺ came to show us is how to take that nature of man, that nature of being together, and make it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Holy Prophet ﷺ came and declared the message of Islam in Mecca, what happened? Those people who came from the most tribal society on earth, they broke the bonds of that tribe, and they came together to organize themselves in a new way, in a community founded on La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. It did not matter their tribe, their clan, their mother, their father, or their race. They left everything on the side and they entered into the Dergahı of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said, "This is my community." They lived as a community in Mecca. They lived as a community when they were tortured. They lived as a community when they were expelled from Mecca and had to live on the outskirts of the city, when nobody bought from them or sold from them, when they starved together and saw their children and beloved ones die together. They undertook the difficult journey to Medina together. They fought in Badr, in Uhud, in Handak together. They built a new city, a new civilization together. They entered Mecca again together under the leadership of that Holy Prophet ﷺ. They established a society that has never known before in the history of man, an empire of faith, a sultanate founded upon the love of Allah and His Holy Prophet. The Ummah has lost all this completely today. We lost this when we lost that one who is representing that prophet, the Khalifatullah. We lost this when we stopped believing in sheikhs. We lost this when the sickness of thinking that every person can interpret Islam as they liked entered into this ummah. We lost this when political power is dictating what the faith is. The Holy Prophet ﷺ made it clear that only the Jamaat is in safety. He said, the Jews split into 71 sects. One of them is in paradise, and 70 are in hellfire. The Christians split into 72 sects. 71 are in the hellfire, and one of them is in paradise. By the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad ﷺ, my nation will split into 73 sects. One of them is in paradise, and 72 are in hellfire. It was said, Ya Rasulullah, who are the ones in paradise? The Prophet ﷺ said, the united community, the Jamaat. And in another hadith sharif, Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, I command you with 5 words with which Allah commanded me: to listen, to obey, to struggle in the way of Allah, to make hijrah, and to unite with the Jamaat. For whoever splits away from the Jamaat as much as a handspan has cast off the protection of Islam from his neck until he returns. Whoever calls to the ways of Jahiliyyah will surely be among the rubble of hell. A man said, Ya Rasulullah, even if he prays and he fasts, the Prophet ﷺ said, even if he prays and fasts, So call to the ways of Allah, who has named you the Muslims, the believers, the servants of Allah. This is a warning from Sayyidul Kainat. Understand that without the Jamaat, without the structure of a community, we cannot even perform the basic functions of Islam. The Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, a basic foundation of implementing that Sunnah in a person's life is that he is around a community. Understand that the Prophet ﷺ implemented the Shariat and the laws of Islam when he founded the community in Medina. How can you pray if you have nobody to pray with? How can you give zakat if there's nobody to give it to? How can you fast Ramadan if you have nobody to share your meals with? How can you learn manners and how to be a human being if you force yourself to be alone, sitting in a room by yourself? The hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, describing the blessings of being in a Jamaat, they are endless. He's saying, verily the prayer of a man with another man is purer than his prayer alone. And his prayer with two men is purer than his prayer with one man. The more there are, the more beloved it is to Allah Almighty. And he ﷺ is saying, Allah will announce on the day of resurrection, where are my neighbors? Where are my neighbors? The angels will say, our Lord, who is befitting to be your neighbor? Allah will say, the ones who filled the masjids. And it is reported that some people came to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said that they ate food but they didn't get full. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked if they ate separately, and they said yes. Then he said, eat your meals together and make zikr of Allah's name over it, for you will be blessed in it. Of course, there are people who have no choice, who are unable to be around a community, who due to hardship are by themselves. Even still their hearts may be with the community, because the Prophet says, ﷺ, verily the spirits of two believers will meet throughout the day, even if they do not see each other. So what happens when people start to live in community for the sake of Allah? Their hearts must start to come together. They must build familiarity to each other. They must build love and care to each other. And that love will pull the Prophet's love. And that love will pull Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. Holy Prophet ﷺ is telling us in Hadith Sharif, Allah Almighty said, my love is a right upon those who love each other for my sake. My love is a right upon those who visit each other for my sake. My love is a right upon those who sit together for my sake. My love is a right upon those who maintain relations for my sake. Being in a community makes you to learn friendship. Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying in another Hadith Qudsi, Allah Almighty said, my love is a right upon those who befriend each other for my sake. And my love is a right upon those who defend each other for my sake. Friendship is one of the strongest anchors of a person's Islam. The Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba, which hook of Islam is the strongest? Some said namaz. He ﷺ said namaz is good, but it is not that. Some people said fasting. Some people said struggle. And Holy Prophet said it is good, but it is not that. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the strongest hook of faith is to develop friendship and enmity for Allah alone. So who are we making into our friend? Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi Qadasasir is saying, every awliya is Allah's proof. The rank and station of men and women is determined by how they treat the awliya. If they are hostile to the awliya, they are acting hostile against Allah. If they are friends with the awliya, they have made friendship with Allah. For Allah says, whoever has seen them has seen me. Whoever finds them has found me. True friendship is to sacrifice oneself for one's friend, to plunge into danger for our friend's sake, for all are headed towards one and the same goal. All are drowned in one and the same sea. This is the effect of faith and submission to Allah. And the friends of Allah, they speak the truth. Our Shaykh SahibulSaif, Shaykh Abdulkerim Kibrisi Rabbani, he made a community for the sake of understanding what is this friendship. Understand, we are not declaring that we are perfect. Understand that we are not saying that we're doing everything correctly. We are here to understand how much more we must have and we must do. Understanding how it was. This is why he built. For the understanding of how it was that the Sahaba-i-Kiram lived with the Holy Prophet ﷺ, for not being separated and scattered apart in this Akhir Zaman. It doesn't matter if a person is physically part of this community or not. What matters is the heart. If we are part of this community with our heart, we are part of the work of our Shaykh. Shaykh Efendi is saying, we pulled ourselves from outside communities and we are trying to build our own community. We are trying to bring all these orders that are given to us through the Holy Prophet ﷺ. My duty is to bring the community together, to watch, to make you understand what is right and what is wrong, and to work on people. Your duty is to accept when I say this is right and this is wrong. That way we can build. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to build. And in the day of judgment, you are going to be responsible. Not only me, you will be responsible. Every individual will be responsible. You will be accounted for whether you did what is for you or not. Everyone knows what is for them to do. And everyone knows what is their duty in this world. This community looks very small, but who knows? Maybe it is one of the biggest works. For me, it is one of the biggest works. It doesn't matter if it's small. We are not trying to change the world. We are trying to build something. And whoever helps in that, whoever spends on the way, they will be blessed. Whoever tries to put barricades knowingly or without knowing, they will be cursed. Shaitan is telling to destroy anything that is built. And Allah and His Prophet ﷺ is saying to us, anybody who destroys anything that is built, they are under the curse. They will be under the curse in dunya, and they will be under the curse in akhirat. Of course, when Shaitan sees a strong community, when he sees people's hearts coming together, when he sees that a person's love is building to his Shaykh, of course Shaitan will run to break it. This is a sign that the community is getting bigger and stronger. This is what fitna is. The effort of Shaitan to come and break a community. The one who engages in fitna is cursed. Shaykh Efendi is describing the strategy that Shaitan uses to break communities, saying, Shaitan says to his helper shaitans, be busy with them. If you see two persons talking nicely, what you have to do, you have to go to that one. You have to put doubts in the other one's heart. When that one says something, you're going to make that one to say, no, you see, he is lying. You're going to put a doubt there. Then you have to go to the other one you have to say, you see, he doesn't care for you. Shaitan is saying, and the best friendships, the best ones of you who is working for me is best one of you who is breaking friendship. Those people who are friends with each other, those people who care, who love each other. Because their prophet said to them, if you are not saying La ilaha illallah, you are not entering into paradise. But if you don't love each other, it doesn't count that you are saying La ilaha illallah. So make them to say kalima through the heart, to the tongue, but through the heart make them to hate each other. May Allah protect us from that. Of course, the sheikhs, they know the strategies and the plans of shaitanic people. Shaykh Efendi is explaining very clearly, for now until Judgment Day, for everyone to understand, shaitan knows that if a man says kalima through the tongue, but he hates his brothers in his heart, such a man's kalima is not counted, and he will not enter paradise. So shaitan is coming to us to break the bonds of our brotherhood and to plant the seeds of hatred in our heart. We must be watchers and guardians over our heart. We must watch to see if our heart is containing love for those who are joining with us to build a community for Allah's sake, or if hatred is entering. We must watch to see if our heart is having love for our guide, the inheritor of Rasulullah, if shaitan's workers have put those seeds of doubt and anger in our heart. If we let those seeds to grow, we can make zikr, we can pray, we can fast, but our hearts have become dirty, and that will not take us anymore to paradise. The community of believers is established upon the example of the holy city of Medina. And Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, Karamallah Wajha, is telling us that Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Medina is sacred from the mountain up till the borders. Whoever makes a heresy, a bid'at in it, or helps a heretic or the person who practices bid'at, whoever does that, upon him is the curse of Allah, the angels, and the people all together. His obligatory and extra good deeds will not be accepted. The protection of the Muslims is one. Whoever betrays a Muslim, upon him is the curse of Allah, the angels, and the people all together. His obligatory and extra good deeds will not be accepted. We must guard our hearts. We have made a bayat, and that is a submission to a guide who sees what is in our hearts and warns us when shaitan is entering. We must keep sohbat only with those who remind us of Allah. Ibn Masud radiallahu anh said, remember Allah Almighty often. You must not be in anyone's sohbat unless they help you to remember Allah Almighty. We should build on that real love, not love according to songs and social media, love according to the saints. And Imam Rabbani Qadasir is saying in his Maktubat al-Sharif, in love and respect, deception and a false face is not permissible. In love and respect, to fool others and to have a double face is not permissible. The reason is that a person who loves someone is completely overtaken by this love, and he will never accept that his beloved is being attacked in any manner. He will also never agree to make peace with the enemies of his beloved. We must love for Allah's sake and leave for Allah's sake. The blessings of Jamaat that we have in these days is very rare. If we waste it, we will pull the displeasure of Allah. One of the early Muslims said, a time will come to people in which the most rare thing of that era will be a friendly brother or a lawfully earned coin or a practice from the Sunnah. How we are living those days and how we are protected from all of that for the blessings of our Shaykh. And how much more grateful and how much more in shukr we have to be. We have these, alhamdulillah. This friendship that we can have inside a Jamaat, it is the greatest gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants to a man inside this worldly life. One of the very big awliya, Hazrat Abu Median, is saying, there is no taste in this life except in the companionship of the holy ones. They are the real sultans, the real masters, the real princes. So join their sohbats and learn the adab of their gatherings and keep your obligations even if they ignore you. Make your heart always open to your brothers without a limit, out of feelings and understanding, and turn your face if you see one of them slip. Watch the Shaykh carefully in all his conditions, because maybe then you will see a sign of his pleasure on you. Always be ready for his hizmat. Maybe he will be pleased with you. But be careful if you see he is annoyed with you, because it is in his satisfaction that you will find the satisfaction of your Creator and his obedience. He has granted you his good pleasure through his sohbat. So beware of abandoning it. This way, if we follow it properly, it gives us taste in this life. It gives us happiness in this life, and it brings us to happiness in the next life. This way is the way of happy servants. We are ending with our Shaykh's advice, which is endless in its support and medad that comes to us. He's saying our duty is to try to live Islam correctly with ourselves, with our own ego. That is the biggest jihad that you are going to make, and that is obligation to every believer, that jihad. The other jihad that they are talking nonsense about all the time may happen once in a person's life, or it may never happen, and that is not obligation to everyone. That is only obligation to those people who fit to that category whom the Khalifa is ordering. It's not obligation to everybody. But the Jihad al-Akbar, the biggest jihad with the ego, is obligation to everyone. From young to old, from male to female, it is obligation. Everyone must try, must run, and must work on their ego. That is obligation. Don't say, I reach to 70 or 80 and I'm going to leave it. No. Shaitan may come around again. He is tired with those ones, trying to run away from them. But if you give him free invitation, then he may come around again. So smile. One invitation you are giving to Shaitan is when you have a bad face and you are not smiling. Then you are giving invitation to Shaitan saying, come to me. Leave that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves his happy servants. The more happy they are, the more he sends to them. Amen. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah lazim alazi. La ilaha illa wa al-hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك القدير لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني ظالم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك سبحان قدوس ربنا رب الملك سبحان قدوس ربنا رب سبحان قدوس إن ديننا الله الإسلام